Medusa, one of the three Gorgons in Greek mythology, a snakehead lady who was considered to be so ugly that anyone who looked at her turned into stone. And she has been depicted in a lot of different movies and video games, and MOBAs like Dota and League of Legends are no exception. They have also created their own version of Medusa. League of Legends gave her a different name, a different backstory, like how she's a nobility in Noxus, and now she has a sister called Katarina, and blah blah blah. Listen. The point is that at least they made an effort to make this character different. But on the other hand, we have Dota 2, where Gaben decided to change absolutely nothing. Yep, that's Medusa for you. Her name is Medusa, she looks like Medusa, and her backstory is also same as Medusa. Okay, technically it has some changes, but this is as accurate as you get in a video game. In this video, we are going to play both of these characters and explain the journey that I went through playing and understanding them. This is a story about stones, snake, and a lot of incompetence, so be prepared. So we start off this game by taking the rune near the safe lane. Not going for the first blood, so Mystic Snake is the obvious choice for your first ability. Our team, I would say, is pretty well balanced for early and late game. We got crowd control, magic damage, and pushing capabilities, plus a really strong late game hero. But their team, on the other hand, is really focused on late game. They have Slark, SF, and Monkey King, which are going to be a problem in late game. The downside for their team is that they are really bad in early game. Basically, their strategy is betting all of their money on late game, knowing that they're gonna get thrashed in early game. But as I thought the game is going to be smooth sailing, Furion asked me if I can solo top lane by myself. Alright, so that's how it's gonna be, huh? Whenever someone types that question in the chat, they are not asking you, they're telling you how it's gonna be, whether you like it or not. But to be fair, he did help me in the first two waves so that I can at least get my level 2 without dying or losing a lot of resources. And truth be told, I didn't even struggle that much in the lane, mainly because I was fighting against two melee heroes. One of them was Monkey King. As a matter of fact, I was able to beat the crap out of him because he kept elbow dropping me from the top rope like a WWE match. I was having so much fun beating the crap out of him, I forgot that this was a handicap match, with my tag team partner being AFK having fun at his side quest on becoming the very best, like no one ever was. It's no surprise that I at least died a couple of times, but still, we survived the laning phase. At least with minimum damage, of course. And now, this is the part of the video where I need to explain few things about this hero, because this is one of a kind. First, let's talk about her Q ability. This is a toggle ability that you can use to either for a single fire with 100% damage or attack multiple targets at once. But the catch is that your damage is reduced. Early game, this ability is not that impactful, mainly because you already have very low damage from the start. But later on, when you get damage, crit, and stats, you get a lot of damage output. Really interesting choice for an ability. But you know what's even more interesting is the ability that they paired up with her Q ability. I'm talking about her innate passive, Mana Shield. As the name suggests, this passive ability creates a mana shield that absorbs all the incoming damage in exchange for your mana. Basically, you won't receive any damage until you run out of your mana. This sounds amazing, right? Here's the catch. You get no HP. As a matter of fact, you start your game with 120 HP, which means if your mana goes to 0, you'll get one-tapped by the enemy support. And at level 3, the maximum amount of HP that you get is 428. That's it. Which means rather spending your money buying HP and regen, you just focus on getting as much mana as possible and turn this hero into an ultimate tank. The best way to explain Medusa is like playing an artillery mage, but now we turn it into an indestructible tank. Really scary, I know. But the biggest problem is that you're really weak in early game. Most carry heroes like Juggernaut, Slark, Gyrocopter, Dragonite, and Sven, these heroes get a huge power spike after level 6. But not in the case of Medusa, because her ultimate ability, Stone Gaze, when activated reduces attack speed and movement speed of enemies if they are looking at her. Plus, if they keep looking at her for 2 seconds, they turn into stone and take more physical damage. This ability also gives her movement speed, but the problem is that this ability is really really bad at level 1, which is why most people don't even spend their skill points on this ability at level 6. People can easily look away from you or completely ignore you, especially because you have no damage and pose no threats, which is why it is crucial for you to farm and buy items, which is what I did in this game. Even though I was mostly focusing on farming and not fighting, I still had a lot of hilarious interaction with the enemy team. Like this one time when Monkey King and Pudge wanted to go for another handicap round, but this time I had my ultimate and Manta style. So in last ditch effort, went straight for the counter attack with my ultimate, killing Pudge alone and having my teammates help me with the other one. Or this other time when Slark and Monkey King ganged up on me, and in response I used my ultimate before I ran out of mana. A really close call in my opinion, but my team also TP'd, which resulted in us killing Monkey King. We were so happy in fact that we decided to go into their jungle and die one after the other. Why did we do that, you might ask? I don't know. But now, all of that is in the past because your boy finally was able to get 2 of his major items, which means now we can start fighting with our team. And this is where my performance was at its peak. All I had to do was get in the middle of the fight, press my ultimate and kill everyone in my sight. And with my butterfly, I'm really hard to hit, which means even harder for them to drain my mana. And honestly, even though I was fighting against 3 carries, we were still dominating the game. Alright, check this out. So this Pudge hooks me and pulls me towards him, signing his death warrant, and Monkey King for some reason uses his ultimate when we already destroyed their tower and left their base. It is safe to say that this lobby has 0 brain cells, us included, but it's the most entertaining circus that I have ever seen. Everything was going smoothly at my end, was getting a lot of farm, getting kills and pushing towers, and everything changed as soon as we hit the 35-minute mark. Because now let me introduce you to the 4th carry of the enemy team, a wild card in simple terms. Because 3 carries weren't enough, they needed a 4th one. And honestly, I was feeling the pain with this one. With her range, mobility, invisibility, she was everything that I hated. At this point, it did feel like I was playing Resident Evil. You're just strolling around, everything is absolutely fine, and suddenly, you get a FNAF jump scare. Listen, I can deal with 3 carries at once, alright? But when 4 out of 5 enemy heroes are playing for the late game, now you're actually testing my patience. After this, there were a lot of killing, a lot of dying, and honestly, for the sake of time, I'm gonna skip the yapping part and tell you the final conclusion. In our last team fight, I killed 4 out of 5 enemies, followed up by me dying by Marana again, followed up by my team just beating the crap out of her. It took us 50 minutes of struggle to get to this conclusion, and honestly, I had enough. I just wanted to end this game. And finally, my team destroyed their throne, meaning I'm free from this prison and I'm never coming back. So what did we learn in this game? Pick more carries because 4 are not enough, bro. Alright, now let's talk about League of Legends. I have said this many times in my videos that in most cases I play League of Legends to play Akali and that's it. Other champions are like a background character to me. Cassiopeia is a champion I have never played before this video. As a matter of fact, I just bought this champion and also this skin. So don't blame me if everything goes wrong. In this game, we are going to be playing mid. This champion is all about damage over time. All of her spells cost low mana and are really spammable. On the other hand, my opponent has maxed out burst damage and her abilities have a lot of range. But the downside is that her abilities cost more mana. So here's the game plan. I'm gonna keep baiting her so that she spams her spells and drains all of her mana, which means I had to do a lot of trading. Yeah, I have lower HP than my opponent, but at the end, she has no mana and I'm still able to spam my abilities. 3 minutes into the game, we got our first blood. Listen, in my opinion, first bloods are really overrated, so don't worry about it.
An ally has been slain.
2 kills are not that bad, alright? Whatever.
Enemy killing spree.
Hey, listen, he's just lucky. That's all it is, right?
Enemy rampage.
I don't know what's going on down there. And you know what? I don't want to check it out either. I honestly thought if I pretended to ignore the disaster then it will go away. But they were like, nah, if you ignore the disaster is gonna come to you and completely screwed up my lane. And most people get mad in these kind of situations, but I refuse to be angry. Mainly because this is like the third time in a row that this has happened to me. At this point, this is just something that I have to deal with when playing League. Trust me, you'll get used to it. Even after sabotaging my whole lane, I was still very strong, especially after I got my ultimate ability, Petrifying Gaze. Blast enemies in the targeted direction. Enemies facing towards you turn into stone, and enemies looking away from you are slowed. This ability gives you so much dueling potential, which is why now I was winning most of my trades. And because my champion is really good in mid game, this is where I decided to start ganking, starting with the bot lane. I honestly thought that I would be able to take both of them down before the backup arrives, but I was way too over my head and died. But hey, at least we got some kills, right? Getting score on the board is more important right now. Sure, my teammates have given up, but not me. I believe I can bring this game back, so let me cook. This time, we went for another gank in the bot lane, resulting in a double kill. Next, we got into the team fight where we killed 2 more enemies. Yeah, we did have few casualties, but nevertheless a really good team fight for us, because we took the advantage of this scenario and took our first dragon. By that I mean, I took our first dragon. See, I told you I was cooking. Then we went for another gank at bot lane, killed their bot lane and their support. Again. Few minutes later, another gank, but this time, we went for the top lane. And just to remind you, when all this was happening, Caitlyn was too busy dying because her feelings got hurt. Just so you know how useless she was, I was in a 2v1 scenario, literally drained their HP to 1, but unfortunately, I died before landing the killing blow. But don't worry, we have Caitlyn, who's going to make sure that they are dead. After all, that's her specialty. Yep, she let them get away. And honestly, at this point, I'm tempted to Alt F4, but I'm not gonna let this recording go to waste because I've been in this situation over and over and over again every time my teammate surrenders. But not this time. I'm gonna make sure I see this game till the end. I tried desperately to kill anyone who entered into the base, but there was a point where even I wasn't able to hold them off. Where were my teammates, you might ask? Taking the dragon, of course, and the one is just defective at this point. Finally, after taking the dragon, Kayn comes in from the back trying to 1v5 the whole team and fails miserably. But fear not, because Kyle is also here and she also died. Does anyone consider teamfight as an option? Because that's the only thing that we tried once in this game and did work. See, if we can win by working together, nope, of course not. But hey, at least the good news is the game's over. I don't have to endure this torture any longer. I'm honestly just happy that the video's done, boys. I just don't want to play this game anymore.